You expressed your concerns about traveling to the United States by plane. You feared that you may be charged with some kind of a crime, with drug smuggling, for instance. Do you feel safer now?
This information comes from the US. Several months ago, there were rumors that a presidential airplane was arrested in the United States because traces of cocaine had been detected on board. I've not been here this year. This is my first trip to the USA. But it suggests there is some kind of a system, some preparation undertaken by secret agents. That's why we're exposing them, because it's interesting for the public. What's more, it's resulted in a scandal in the mass media. I feel that some group is preparing to start up drug smuggling businesses. Who's going to believe this? Nobody. But nonetheless, this is another way of undermining presidential authority and that of the government. Do you remember this news from WikiLeaks? What was America's goal? Was it to capture me or neutralize me or overthrow me? They failed regardless. What can they do now? Try to charge us with illegal activities, drug smuggling or terrorism, for instance, to ultimately destroy us. That's their plan, I believe.
Like many others, you are critical of U.S. policy towards your region. What is the biggest interference, do you think? Or what prevents countries such as Venezuela and Bolivia from maintaining normal relationships with the U.S.?
We all want to maintain good relations, but the lesser evil is growing, and almost everyone in Latin America knows it. Or, I'm sorry, what's it called? I mean the axis of evil. Sorry for my mistake. Chavez and Fidel were referred to as the axis of evil, and now almost all South America has become an axis of evil for imperialism and capitalism. It means presidents such as Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez were right. For example, I have noticed that all South America is dressed in red. That's how countries, parties, groups, political leaders feel. They feel the deep suffering of their people. In the meantime, our duty is to maintain our struggle. Democratic revolutions, revolutions without bullets, revolutions at the ballot box, as are traditional in Latin America and South America. Nevertheless, we all want to maintain good diplomatic relations with the US. I was brought up in a tradition of keeping up dialogue. Dialogue is important.
Mr. President, speaking of the balance, President Chavez is ill. He has always been promoting Latin American integration. Don't you think that Hugo Chavez's illness may put an end to this process that has been developing so rapidly?
He is our leader, he and Fidel Castro. They are the leaders of South America's liberation forces. Chavez's friend Fidel has made an enormous contribution. I mean all those democratic revolutions in Bolivia, Ecuador, Nicaragua, in our countries. Revolution is not a present from heaven. It's a struggle by our commandants. We won over Latin America and the world. We won favor for our people and for our social forces. Yesterday, I spoke with my comrade Hugo Chavez over the phone. He is very strong. He's almost healthy. Of course, he should be following his doctor's instructions and those of Fidel. I know he's a lawyer by profession, but he is much more than a doctor, than a lawyer. When Fidel and I talk, he speaks most of all about health and education. That's what the revolution is about. Hugo told me that Fidel supervised his treatment. He is a very sympathetic person. After all the health issues that his friend Hugo Chavez has been through, we understand that we should take care of our leader's health. When we fall in love with our people, with our homeland, with the idea of integration, we forget about health. I was very pleased after our conversation, and I was very happy, because Hugo's voice was as confident and convincing as usual. He is very grateful to Fidel.